YouTube, what is up? We are back with another day, and we are battling a tooth infection right now. The last couple weeks we've been battling it. It's been on and off again. My dental insurance doesn't renew until March. We used up our deductible last year, so we gotta wait for like 20 more days to survive this toothache. And the last couple days, the sleep has not been great because of that. So if I'm behind on DMs, if I'm behind on posts, that's the reason why. But the body's feeling pretty good today. I had to wait all day for this fucking tooth to stop aching. And we're actually feeling pretty good now, so hopefully we can get after something today. And we're gonna find out how that shoulder feels on these snatches. Today with the snatches, we got an every minute on the minute for 20 minutes, a little adapted Joe Mills 20 for 20 workout. So the first 15 minutes are gonna be at set percentages. We got to hit all 15 of those to hit our last 5 singles. And on those last 5 singles, we're going to continue to build up. We are headed to Texas for our very first softball tournament of the year in just around a month. My goal is to build up the snatch and clean and hit a big PR with Tim Riley in the middle of March. So we're going to do some every minute on the minute. We're going to work with technique. We're going to play with a couple of things for these next couple of weeks and actually build up to something. And I think that'd be a fun little, cool little treat that I haven't even told him about yet. I haven't even planned that I'm working out with him. I just know I'm going to Texas, and he better hang out with me. So my plan is to build up for that PR, especially after these last couple of weeks of sending in on the lifts, and we're going to see how it goes. So let's get after it. Let's go. So for this little 20v20 setup, we start at 70% of our match, which is going to be 165 pounds on the bar with a 235 max. Machine's pretty conservative weight-wise, but obviously we're going to build up into something, and I haven't done the every minute on the minute in a long time. So we're going to see how it feels with our new max, see how it feels with this new weight, and hopefully we get a shitload of crispy reps. So the first five minutes are at that 70%. The next 5 minutes, if we get all of them, which, I mean, if we don't, we're retiring from only lifting. We add 5 kilograms to the bar for the next 5 minutes, and then the next 5 minutes after that, you add 7.5 kilograms to the bar, and then the last 5 are open, and that'll give me my little dopamine hit of a heavy single for that day. Keep it crisp, keep it clean. The goal is to get all 20 reps, obviously 20 for 20. So we're gonna start off with a little complex here. We're gonna go high pull, into a no foot snatch, into a snatch balance, into an overhead into an overhead squat just for a couple, just warm up the shoulders a little bit, get some technique work done. Let's go. Let's go. I was still a little cranky from last week, but feeling a million times better. I was feeling a little bit with the swing on Friday, but by the time we got to the HX tournament, it had freed up, it had opened up a little bit. We bench pressed on Saturday, I had a full upper body workout on Saturday, felt pretty good. And right now, honestly, the only thing that truly bugs it is that like violent overhead sticking position. I can press just fine overhead. It's more of that sticking. It's a little annoyed in those positions, but nothing bad. So shouldn't run into too many issues today with that. Let's go. Let's go. Snatch bounce is definitely gonna be the hardest to be able to continue to get up. But, I mean, it's feeling good. We're not going crazy heavy. Let's get it. This little every minute on the minute approach, kind of a little back off build up approach that I'm doing for these next 3 to 4 weeks has nothing to do with a massive programming philosophical change. More so just this little small side quest that I'm interested in doing, giving myself something fun to train for. The softball season's coming up in a month. Feeling really good with all my lifts. I just want to give myself a little psychological carrot to go reach for, especially as we go into the softball season. It would be pretty sweet to give myself to build up into something sweet when we get to Texas and tease myself with that as we go. So not a big physiological reason we're doing it. Not saying that physiologically this is bad, but it's not my normal approach, more psychological and just giving myself a carrot for later and what we're reaching for. So let's go. Let's get excited to snatch again. Let's go. Let's go. One more of those and we get to the minutes. Let's go. And Will's talked about that kind of thought process before of just finding different ways to PR without it just being a 1 rep max PR, especially when you're at Will's level with a proficiency of the snatches and cleans where you really have to be dialed in to get a PR. And he doesn't have the newbie gains on the table like I do where I can just kind of randomly PR every other day. Finding different ways to PR, finding different ways to get a win in a gym and push the same physiological stimulus that we're going for is a very powerful tool for moderate to advanced athletes to have in the gym, to where they're not just running their face into the wall and getting all beat up in a pursuit that isn't their number one pursuit, right? Like if I go full in the ollies and really keep running my face in them, it does start to take away a little bit from softball. My shoulder gets beat up in softball. Maybe my back's a little bit sore from softball, and that's not really the number one goal, right? Like I want this to feed into softball, and finding other ways to PR around that is a very powerful tool. And again, I'm not even really doing that. I just think it's going to be just a little bit of a fun pursuit and a little bit of a change up to go with the time, but just some of the thought processes around there. It's pretty fun. But this is 155. This is 5 pounds under what I'm supposed to start at this 70% for this every minute on the snatches. And I think this is going to be pretty light, but we're going to find out. Let's go. Let's go. All right, I'll get the timer ready. We'll start yapping. Let's get it. All right, so we got 20% or 70% of the weight on the bar that we need to have here. First 5 reps are here. We got 20:17 on the clock. As soon as it hits 20:0, we will clean every minute on the minute. Probably yap in between. We'll edit out any breaks where I don't yap. We'll get after it. 20 for 20. Here we go. Let's get the first one. Oof. Oh, 1 for 1. Let's go. Actually, was kind of sloppy getting that up from the first rep. That was my first clean from the ground. That would have been tough if we went 0 for 1 on the very first one. But 19 more to go, and we rip from there. After this, it's going to be 175. So we'll put take the 5 off, put a bumper plate on. We'll hit that for 5. After that, it's 180. We'll put a 2.5 on it, and then after that, we got 5 opens that we just rip, and we're trying to get all of them. So probably do a 185, 195, 205. See how it's feeling from the 205. See what the shoulder feels like there. Kind of build up into something good there. And if we're ripping, we're ripping. We got 13 seconds left. Let's go. Wait, 2 for 2. I want to get more of a no-foot snatch going here. I think I'm being a little bit overly conservative. I kind of like this for like Ollie lifts. If you're actually in a competition where misses matter, right? Like right now I can miss a weight in the gym and not really matter, just get hyped back up, go after it again. But the precision of that, the little bit of pressure that it adds, I kind of like that. It's like when you're hitting with your buddies and you give them a situation where it's like 2 outs, this ball's got to be over the fence, right? You have a guy that can hit home run consistently over and over again. Put him in that pressure-based situation, he starts to fucking ground out. So I can definitely see that same thing being with the Ollies. If you're not an actual technical master, clean all the weights that you want in the gym. You get to the comp, starts to stress you out a little bit. All right, we got 5 seconds here. Let's go. I got to turn off my low power mode. Fucking it up. Ooh, let's go. Whee! Kind of like this. It feels fun. It's nice to get a bunch of little wins instead of bashing my face against the wall, praying for a singular win. Might become a dopamine addict here. Gotta turn off my low power mode here. The fact Will answers his Q&As on a clock like this, it's unbelievably stressful. I'm already stressing out how to like cut myself off in time. Just makes how his conciseness of his videos, it makes it even more impressive. The fact that he's doing a lot of it on the minute or in the density sets where he's on like a clock. That's crazy. You're a little psycho, Will. Let's go. Oof. Let's go. And we got 1 more here, then we got to add the weight. We'll switch the weight. Let's get it. Ooh, let's go. Crispy. I need like a cluster piece of chalk. When we do hypertrophy clusters, you need the chalk to count your sets and reps. Fucking losing count already. This is stressful. All right, we got switch these. All right, did the math. Switch with 5 seconds to spare. Second set. Let's go. Ooh, let's go. There's 1. Ooh, let's go. There's 2. One thing I know I want to yap about is Ben Bruno posted a thing about the state of the fitness industry and just basically coming at all young trainers who post videos of them training themselves and make fun of old-time trainers like himself and all these old-time trainers like Brett Contreras. I'm sure Boyle's in there. I saw DeFranco in there. These are all guys other than Boyle that I respect, and they've obviously made their mark. And honestly, I think Ben Bruno's a fucking awesome trainer, a really cool dude, regardless of his connection to Boyle. But it's just like their thoughts on these things are just so confused with like when they entered and what they were doing when they entered, right? Like they all poked the bear when they entered the field. They all poked the giants of the field when they entered the field, and now they're turning around and swearing at the same people that are doing the same thing to them because now they're the giants. And it's a silly way to approach it. All right, I got 2 seconds and I gotta hit this. Let's go. I think it's just a silly way to think about and approach the field. It's like you guys are at 2 different timelines, right? And the only way for the field to move forward is for you stagnant giants. And that is the toughest part. That's why these young guys are coming at you, is because you have been stagnant. When was the last time any of those big heads in the field, specifically people like Boyle, have put out something new, a revolutionary piece of idea, something that actually helps young trainers, right? Other than regurgitating the same thing we've been fed for the last 10 years, right? Like there needs to be a new influx of blood. There needs to be a new influx of ideas. And it's not to say it's all brand new, but even just bringing up old stuff that people have done in the past, right? Like, I just think we psychologically mess up. Like, they're doing the same thing. It's the rebel to tyrant story that you did to get there, and now you're crushing the rebel when it's like, it is good for the field. Just because it's annoying to you doesn't mean it's not good for the field. All right, we gotta hit another rep here. These rants are gonna have to shorten up. This is gonna be the biggest training stimulus, is me shortening my rants up. Oof. Let's go. I think I got one more there. I'm losing complete track. But if you want the field to stay alive, if you want the field to stay exciting, you need young rebels in the field that annoy you, right? And that doesn't mean everything they say is going to be right. It doesn't mean everything I'm going to say is going to be right. But it's the same as when you were a rebel and you were poking the bear and you were climbing the field and you said stupid shit too, right? Like, I just think the more you come off as that old, I know better, I know all the answers, all these young kids are just a bunch of idiots, the more those young kids stop listening to the good that you actually have to say. And I think it's why Boyle turns so many people off, because his whole message is, I know I'm right, you guys are wrong, you'll figure it out eventually. And obviously that turns young people off. Even if you do have a good piece of information, just have enough faith in that piece of information to where you don't have to prove that by just saying you're right? Like, prove it to people and plant the seed like a good teacher plants a seed, rather than forcing that seed down people's throat. All right, we got one more set here. Let's go. Oof. Let's go. All right. Got to add, I think, 2.5s. Add some 2.5s to the last set of 5. We'll hit this, then continue the rant. Oof. Let's go. There's 1. 4 more there. But yeah, I just think it's a sign of insecurity as a leader, a sign of insecurity as somebody that should have the most security, somebody that has made it in the field. You should have the most amount of security to be able to put your ideas out there and just allow people to accept them. And the more that you have to force your ideas down people's throats and play this appeal to authority role, the more I know you are insecure in your own ideas. And that's the reason you can't defend them like a good teacher defends them. And it's a sign that you're not a good teacher. And being a coach is the product of being a good teacher. And I don't think it's a very good sign for your athletes or your business. So, all right, let's get another rep here. Let's go. Oof. Wait, I freaking made myself bleed through me sweatpants. That sucks. I'm gonna try and roll up these socks so it doesn't bleed all the way through. I really like these sweatpants. That's unfortunate. I'm gonna go socks. I'm gonna go shorts here. Give you guys a little peep show. Keep the blood down. Oh man, both of them are bleeding. So I'm keeping the bar close. Oof. Let's go. Keep ripping. I'm gonna start recording these. I'm gonna find the best. I should have brought a stopwatch so I can record these without losing my timer, but we'll time it up right. Let's go. All right, we got 2 or 3 more at this weight. I'll check my little checklist, but let's keep ripping. Let's go. Ooh, let's go. Feeling crispy. All right, last weight here, and then we start to get open. We got 15 for 15 as long as we get this one, and we keep adding weight. Let's get it. Ooh, let's go. Wait. Now let's go 185 for our first open. 185 for our first open. Let's go 16 for 16. Here we go. Ooh. Let's go. Out of 5. Ooh. Ooh. Let's go. 2.5 on. Keep ripping. Yeah, turnaround time on these is cardio. Let's go. Ooh. Oh. Almost lost that, baby. Got close. Come on. Lock in. I'm gonna sneak in straps for these last 2. We are 18 for 18. Let's go 20 for 20. Let's go. Ooh, let's go. A little sloppy. We got 1 left. Let's go. Last one here. Let's go. Oh no. We went 19 for 20. That is tough. We're gonna send. We're gonna go 20 for 21. We're gonna get this real quick. That pole is shit. Let's go. Lock back in. Oh, yeah, way to stick with that. Woo. Oh, that was a freaking grind. That felt pretty good. I felt like I was starting like the first couple reps were a little too light, but maybe it's just used to my grind. When it got really, really heavy. Like the difference between those last 5 and this 5 were pretty crazy. I think next week living at that 75%-ish mark and then building up to like an 85-ish% mark, probably be a little bit more effective, but that was a good first week. I'm gonna finish up with 3 sets of 3 heavy snatch pulls here. Same thing we did the cleans. We're just gonna try and meathead, rip this weight up, get a little stim there, and we'll hit some shoulder press and probably some arms before we go. We'll see if we record the arms, but yeah, from there, let's get it. All right, now we're gonna get to these heavy hang high pulls from that snatch position, just trying to break through some plateaus. Again, same thing as those cleans that we did the other day. Go a little bit overload. If we can make 250 feel easy on the pull, maybe 240 will feel easy on the catch. So let's get it, here we go. A little light there, but we'll add some weight. Let's get it. I got to finish up answering a couple Q&As because I didn't do last week's Q&A because I want to answer all of these before I get to the very next one, at least in a DM or some form. And we've almost completed all of them. But this discussion was Star Wars or Game of Thrones. And honestly, I'm not massively into either one of them. I read The Hobbit, really liked The Hobbit. I love the Star Wars movies. I love the Lord of the Rings movies. I think technically I would lean towards Lord of the Rings. But I just haven't totally nerd dove deep into them, which is crazy because I was a massive Harry Potter fan, massive Twilight fan, and currently I'm watching Game of Thrones on season 6 of that, and that is my absolute obsession. It is the craziest fucking show I've ever seen. So I'm gonna pick Game of Thrones above both of those. So that's my knowledge bomb for today, and I'm ready to get my heart broken when they kill off another one of my favorite characters tonight. So let's get some heavy pulls here. Let's go. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh, I really kind of like these pulls. It like delays my extension. I don't rush underneath, and I really felt that triple extension long in that position. Kind of like that feel. Kind of like an unlock in a swing where you feel something just a little bit differently in that swing, and you're trying to hold on to that feel. Kind of like that one. So one more here. Let's get it. Ooh, let's go. Let's hit some 275 on this next one. Go push it pretty heavy. Final set here, probably push the jump a little aggressively here, but I really like to feel that delayed pull, and I think the heavier I get, the more I'm gonna have to delay that pull to actually get that bar up there, which I'm gonna like the feel of. So gonna hold on to that feeling. Let's get it, here we go. Ooh, woo, ooh, ooh, ooh. I like the feel of those. Let's get some shoulder presses. Let's keep ripping. All right, then we hit 3 sets of 8 behind the neck presses here. We're gonna go pretty light here because the shoulder's still pretty stiff in that position. We're starting to feel a little bit towards the catch of that other position, but so much better than what I was thinking it was gonna feel like this week. So pretty pumped to that. That shoulder is pretty back to normal after just yeeting it last week. I got the question, mixed versus blocked periodization. Which do I prefer? What do I do with my athletes? And I really do prefer the mixed training approach. I think, especially with athletes coming in and out, it's just a much more convenient and adaptable model to work with athletes and even just everyday clients, right? Like I think you can touch on so many general qualities at once, and it doesn't need to be one or the other. And I think the more you try to fit these athletes in this robotic mold of you, this hypertrophy stimulus, this is a strength stimulus, this is a speed stimulus, they miss a couple days in every one. It kind of just turns into a hodgepodge of things, and the athletes are craving to kind of see all these numbers go up at once, right? And I do believe all the numbers are doable at once, right? But that's not to say blocked periodization is bad and mix is the greatest thing ever, and there's ways to butcher both, and there's ways to absolutely do both in a phenomenal and amazing way with the athletes. At the end of the day, all that matters is getting the stimulus done, and then these things are just ways to trick ourselves and systemize making sure we get the stimulus that we want to get done, right? And if you have a system that allows you to check off the things you want to check off to where it's not just completely random training every single day, and you're actually working towards something, you're working towards expanding one of your extremes, you're working towards developing physical qualities that are holding you back in your sport or holding you back in life, then either model is going to work, and that is the goal. Those are the principles you need to stick with. Use whatever methods you have to use to get to those principles, which is applying a stimulus that allows you to push past physical barriers that you have in sport and in life that you want to get better at, right? So that's kind of my thought on blocks versus mix. I prefer the mix, but that doesn't mean you have to do one or the other. Start with principles, use methods second, right? All right, let's get after it. 3 sets of 8 here. Nice. Felt a little better on the second set. Let's keep ripping. And on that principle talk, it's why I remember this comment. It was like, can you really just go in the weight room and rip 1 rep maxes and get stronger like you've been doing? Can everybody go do that? It's like, yeah, yes, if the principles are in place, right? Like, that's the only thing you're doing. You're never touching on a hypertrophy stimulus and you need to get bigger. You're never touching on a mobility stimulus and you need to get stronger or more flexible. You're never touching on technical components. You're never touching on your sport. You're never touching on the speed stuff. Like, you're never touching on the other stuff. Then just ripping a 1 rep max is going to lead you to a plateau faster than anything else will. But if you're touching on all these other components, you're playing your sport, you're practicing the things you need to practice, you're attacking your weak points, whether that is hypertrophy, whether it is strength, whether it is flexibility issue, whether it is a technical issue, right? You're attacking those things. Then you can stick with your strength stimulus being a 1 rep max, right? And I think that's the thing that a lot of people miss out on. Like, they see the big things, they see the cool numbers, and I guess I record a lot of that too because it gets the clicks, right? But it's missing the bigger principle of attacking all of these other things concurrently with those 1 rep maxes, right? So you can walk in the gym and hit 1 rep maxes if the rest of your bases are covered. And if they're not, you're probably gonna lead yourself into a brick wall there. But that's with anything, right? Like, if you just stop lifting weights and you only approach flexibility for super long, your 1 rep max flexibility in that setting, you're gonna come back and your weights are gonna suck and you're gonna be slower, right? If you only sprint, some of these other stuff is gonna fall off. And it's not to say that blind pursuit of one extreme is the worst thing in the world. It just means other things are gonna go take a hit. Eventually you're gonna reach a brick wall there, right? Because that's the blocked way of doing it, right? Like, you can approach the flexibility, bring that extreme, but all these other things are gonna kind of drop off and you're gonna eventually have to come back here, right? To even push through past that extreme at one point, right? Like, you're gonna hit a plateau here. You're gonna have to bring something else in these other components here to allow you to break through that next barrier. So that's why I like doing it concurrently with everything, so that those brick walls come less often. And when they do come, you have much quicker fixes, right? Like, after 3 weeks of massive PRs and snatches and cleans, now we're gonna bump back a little bit and work on some other aspects so that our PRs can start to come again, right? So we stop smashing our head in against the wall, but we can make that adjustment very quickly rather than being stuck in a block and continue to force our head into something that's not working, right? So let's get a second set here. Let's go. There we go, that felt better. Keep at it, that still doesn't feel super great. Let's get it. Third set here, we're gonna do the lazy Christmas tree way of just continually adding 10s until we can't do this anymore, instead of taking off plates and stripping the bar. Let's get it. Nice, I like the feel of those. Keep pushing, a little tender on the shoulder, but I like the way it forces that range of motion at the back. It's nice, keep adding weight. We'll hit this for the set. If it's feeling amazing, we'll hit another set, which it should. And then in between here, we're hitting 1 and 1/2 rep chin-ups, and we'll finish up with some machines. Probably won't record that, I'll probably max out these, say goodbye, get out of here. Let's go. Let's go, one more set, then we get our pump on, let's go. All right, probably gonna be a little send for 8 here. Well, let's rip and see what we got here, let's get it. Come on. Come on. Oh, push press this last one. Here we go. Oof. Let's go. Ooh. Oh yeah, that was a good shoulder ripper. Felt way better than I thought it would. Let's say goodbye. I'll hit a bunch of machines for a pump. We'll get out of here. Let's go. All right, first day with the with the EMOMs done. Felt pretty spicy. I liked it. Again, I think the starting weight was just a little bit too light to get a ton out of. I know the focus is on technique, but it was like too light to actually get a good technical pull on. Like I could hit it up. But just getting reps in that locked up position, that good lockout position, felt nice. Going 19 for 20 to start was pretty sweet. Next week we'll start a little bit higher, so we're hitting a lot of the working sets at like 72, 75-ish%, and probably keeping the singles at a similar percentage we had today. Shoulders started to open up, feeling better, so hopefully it's feeling better tomorrow. We got some swings tomorrow. Continue to unlock there. We are 1 month out from our first tournament. Pumped for that. We're gonna go finish up with some machines, get a sickening pump. So we're absolutely chiseled on the field of play this year. And then we got kind of a density set, not necessarily under time, but we just gotta hit 25 total 1-1/2 chin-ups. And if you haven't done any 1-1/2 chin-ups, yeah, I recommend you stop this video right now and you go do them, because they're absolutely spicy and they got my fucking biceps and back pumped up like no other. We got 7 of those left. Hit a couple of machines, we'll get in, we get out, and we'll keep chopping some wood. So I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Let's go.